anytime you go to assess something that is subjective in nature, it always starts with establishing what your criteria is. What are the components in a performance that you think ought to be measured, ought to be checked, and which ones weigh more in the end product result? And so Scoresheet has already built a number of sheets into the system using criteria that are somewhat standard across the industry. But it's designed for you to modify those so you can go into the criteria and actually create your own sheets by using a template system. And so once you decide on criteria that you like, or if you use the ones that we have and you're trying to build a sheet, you put the criteria into the template, and then you're able then to move it in the order you'd like it and put the weights that you'd like to see in it. That then is brought into a score sheet that you will name and title if you're using a new one, creating a new one. And keep in mind, you can use the score sheets that are already there, but you can modify them, and you can actually start from scratch. So these are assessment sheets that are placed in one area of score sheet that you will access whenever you have an audition or an assessment. You will draw on certain sheets that you'd like to use. And then it's accessible to create an assessment on the home page under assessments. Concurrently, those sheets also get placed on an audition or benchmark list. When they're placed here, this puts them in an area that only the admin person can change the criteria and the weights. Of course, that's a department decision. So we try and protect the audition and benchmark numbers from being changed up quite a bit, because those are events that you want to track and measure over time. You want to know how auditions in the fall go year to year for the student, for the ensemble, for the wind players, for sopranos, for whatever it is. And that's what Scoresheet allows you to do in the report side. And so those are accessed in a different location on the home page under Create Auditions. So essentially there's a dividing line between score sheets that are placed in an area to be used for assessments and those that are used for auditions. They can be the same sheet, but once everyone agrees on what the criteria is for an audition or a benchmark event, which we'll talk about what a benchmark is shortly, then they're locked down until something changes. Well, let's take a look at a basic score sheet layout. In the upper left-hand corner, you've connected the term, the event, which in this case is an audition, and the sheet you're using, and the ensemble group or audition group that you're drawing from, the bucket in other words. Also the schematic you're using, the point system is indicated. Up where my picture is, that will actually be a video of the student that you are assessing. When you make the assessment, there's an opportunity to send the link out to all the students. They submit their video off of YouTube or Flipgrid or whatever format they use, and it appears on their sheet. You can see I've selected Hannah McGowan, who's the top flute player of 15 in this particular group. Now above that, you'll see some code up here that if you look at it, you'll recognize it as being score order instrument codes. Piccolo, flute, oboe, English horn, bassoon, etc., clarinet, E-flat clarinet, alto clarinet. So when you first put students in, you'll remember in the upload process, we didn't ask for what voice or what instrument they were. But when you first assess them for the very first time, and you click on Hannah McGowan, for example, you'll know she's a flute. You click on the flute button, and that gets attached to her, and she's in the right ensemble. That's how that works. On the left side over here, you'll see a place to put your impression score, which we talk about in the Learn More section of the website, where you use your initial impression first of a number range. This particular school is set up in an ensemble point-based system. So to get into the top group, the top wind ensemble requires a 5.0. You can see how things distinguish themselves here. So next, when you add these numbers to the captions or the criteria sections, It calculates the average, and you can see discrepancies between your initial impression and the actual breakdown of analysis of their playing ability. And this is your opportunity in Scoresheet. What it does for you, it gives you a chance to think about your impression, your biases, where you might have overreacted or underreacted to certain things, and it fine-tunes the entire process. Notice the captions are tone, quality, intonation, rhythm, time, musicianship, interpretation, accuracy, and articulation. Now, those captions or those criteria were built as a model that can be used right away. But you're also going to see in the subsequent video where these come from and that you can edit those and actually build them into your own sheet using our template system. But these are the standard format ones, and they can be edited and changed. You can also start over and create your own.